Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. My name is Mike. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube to get all of my videos uploaded directly to your feed. The Sporting News announced its NFL Executive of the Year today, and the winner was Ryan Grigson from the Indianapolis Colts, the first-year general manager, taking over a 2-14 team from a year ago. They improved to 11-5, earn a playoff spot. He was named NFL Executive of the Year. John Elway was second in the voting, finishing one vote behind Grigson. Elway, of course, the general manager of the Denver Broncos. And in third was John Schneider of the Seahawks. Obviously, has just a superbly talented roster all the way around, which he was obviously instrumental in building. Those were the three clear-cut guys I thought would be the top three for the Executive of the Year. I thought the order should have gone a little bit differently. So what I want to do is just, state the case for all three guys, what they did good, what they did bad, and then, sort of give my thoughts on how I would have voted if I had a vote in this NFL Executive of the Year here. Grigson first. Ryan Grigson, again, he won the award. Grigson, I'm not going to give him too much credit for Andrew Luck because I think that was sort of a no-brainer. Once Jim Irsay made the decision, I guess it was an Irsay-Grigson, sort of combination decision, but, I have to think that Irsay had more of a say in as big a move as that. Irsay having a relationship with Peyton Manning, I'm sure he made the ultimate decision to move from the Manning era to the Andrew Luck era. So I can't give Grigson too much credit in that area as far as drafting Luck, getting rid of Manning. What I do give Grigson great credit for, though, is the hiring of Chuck Pagano, because I think Pagano, although we don't know much about his in-game coaching right now, because unfortunately he was sick for a lot of the year, we know he can motivate, we know he can inspire, and we know he can move and lead men. There's no doubt in that. He's gone through something this year that is way more difficult than coaching football will ever be. And, he inspired his team, he inspired the city, and for that, I think Chuck Pagano was a good hire. Also, Bruce Arians, as offensive coordinator, was turned out to be a blessing in disguise for the Colts organization. He originally came in to run the offense, to tutor Andrew Luck. He ends up becoming interim head coach, filling in great for Chuck Pagano while he was undergoing treatment. I'm sure they're sad to see him go to Arizona, to the Cardinals as their head coach now, but definitely a good move from a coaching perspective. Grigson, and getting Arians to coach his offense, and eventually again becoming his interim head coach. You look at the draft for the Colts, the past 2012 draft. Obviously, Luck was a no-brainer, but they also drafted tight ends Coby Fleener, Dwayne Allen, right? Two good picks, guys who contributed right away, and third-round pick T.Y. Hilton. Hilton was a guy who had some concerns coming out of school, and Grigson, stuck to his guns, had confidence in Hilton, and Hilton definitely produced for him this year and was a major contributor. So the two tight ends, Hilton, retaining Reggie Wayne was huge. That wasn't a foregone conclusion in the offseason. A lot of people were actually surprised that Wayne re-signed there. I think, that relationship, the Wayne-Luck relationship, was mutually beneficial for both guys. I think Luck, led Wayne in a career rebirth, if you will, and Wayne obviously tutoring Luck in his rookie year, obviously priceless for the young guy to sort of learn the ropes of the NFL. The last draft pick, I think, obviously that was a steal. It looks like a steal as of now, was Vic Ballard, fifth-round pick, over 800 yards rushing this year. They certainly got a lot more out of Vic Ballard than I'm assuming that even the coaching staff or Grigson thought at the beginning of the year when they drafted him. So that's the good stuff for Grigson. The only blemish on Grigson this year I felt was trading for Vontae Davis. Although it didn't really rear its ugly head, I don't think they got the value that they gave up for a guy like Davis. But on the flip side, we'll see what happens in the future. But I don't think that trade was good for Miami either. So I think it was one of those rare trades where it hasn't really been good for either team yet. But again, we'll see what the future holds as far as that trade goes. The second guy who came in second place was John Elway of the Denver Broncos. Again, losing to Grigson by one vote. Elway's claim to fame as a GM and his legacy with the Broncos will be he had Tim Tebow, a cult favorite, a fan favorite, one of the most popular players in the league. All right, a guy he was well documented in saying he didn't think was probably the long-term answer at quarterback for his franchise unless Tebow could, find a more conventional way to play. Well, what happens in the offseason and what Elway is probably came in second place just for this one move. He came up with a creative solution to get Tebow out of Denver and to get the one guy in the NFL that could come in and replace him where the fan base wouldn't be up in arms. And that one guy was Peyton Manning. And let's not forget, I know Elway got to work out Peyton Manning, and I think that's crucial here, that he got a chance to work out Peyton Manning before he signed him to the $90 million contract. But you have a guy in Peyton and John Elway who, trusted in Peyton Manning. The guy was coming off multiple neck surgeries. Obviously a franchise-changing move. You saw what Manning meant to this team throughout the year. Elway's done a good job. In the draft, 15 of his 16 draft picks the last 2 years are on the Broncos roster, so he's done a good job from that perspective. Obviously, the Von Miller pick has certainly worked out good from this year's perspective, and the reason why he was in second place this year was because of that one move. I mean, all the other major key contributors for the Broncos were already in place this year. Okay, he just had Manning slot in at quarterback here, and again, getting rid of Tebow in a way where it wouldn't make the fan base unhappy. And one of the only ways you could do that was acquire a guy like Peyton Manning, and that's exactly what Elway did. The third guy that was in contention here was John Schneider of the Seattle Seahawks. I love what Schneider did this offseason, what he's done the last 3 or 4 years while a member of the Seattle organization. And personally, I thought he should have won the Executive of the Year award. I'm shocked that it was Grigson with 9 votes, Elway with 8, and Schneider with 3. I'm surprised there was that much of a gap in between these 3 guys. I mean, all Schneider did in the draft, all right, was draft the potential Offensive Rookie of the Year in Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, draft the potential Defensive Rookie of the Year in Bobby Wagner in the 2nd round, and draft the rookie with the most sacks of any rookie in the 1st round in Bruce Irvin. And if you remember, all 3 of those draft picks, Irvin, Wagner, and Russell Wilson, and especially Irvin, the Seahawks were getting blasted. If you remember that Thursday night, the 1st round of the draft, whether it be a Gruden, a Kuiper, whoever was commenting on it that night, blasted Seattle for that pick. And all Irvin does is lead all rookies in sacks. And then I can't say enough about the contributions of Wagner, and Russell Wilson. And I'm just focusing on how those 3 impacted the team this season and how that ended up playing out. They also had some very key players that they retained of their own. They retained a guy like Marcus Trufant, right? A guy who was a starter there for years. Obviously now is playing nickelback because of the emergence of Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner. But you have a guy like Trufant. They've re-signed him, sort of like an under-the-radar, savvy, retain-our-own-guys kind of move, the kind of moves that Schneider has been making the last couple years. All right, you look at all, I'm trying just to focus this video on this year, but if you look at the roster of the Seahawks and the job Schneider has done, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that he should have won this award this year. Whether you take the 3 guys I just mentioned that he drafted, or you talk about acquiring guys like Chris Clemens, Red Bryant in years past, getting Brandon Browner from the CFL, Richard Sherman, obviously a very good player now, probably had the best year of any cornerback in the league this year. He wasn't an overly high draft pick. You look at all these moves, that Seattle made, and I know I'm missing some of them because there's been that many good moves. The trading for Marshawn Lynch, the list goes on and on. Retaining McQuiston this offseason on the offensive line. All these moves amounted to the Seahawks having a great season, and I think being one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the league when all was said and done. But again, my vote would have went to Schneider. I can't really. I would have had Grigson 2nd and Elway 3rd. I would have had Grigson a close 2nd. Only because the team he inherited was 2-14 and they ended up 11-5. I realize there's value in that. I realize there's value in doing what Grigson did, shedding a lot of the old payroll, bringing in new young talent that produced for them in their first year. But I just think what Schneider did this season, hitting those picks in Irvin, Wagner, and Wilson, and how that sort of galvanize that franchise, really put the finishing touches on a roster that Schneider has put together the last 3 years, a roster that is just deep and good at almost every position on the field. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think they made the right decision in naming Grigson the executive of the year? Would you have wanted Schneider like I did, or Elway, or maybe someone totally different off the radar that I'm not even mentioning here in this video? Let me know. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. And guys, I'm talking sports on this YouTube channel every day. I post daily videos, normally more than one video per day, so subscribe, and you get all my videos delivered directly to you. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good night.